Hello, everybody. Welcome to the world of Courtney Lanza. This is Andrew Lanza, and today is May the 2nd, 2026. It's a great day to be alive, and thank you for joining me in pop culture news and entertainment. Let's see what happened this week. I believe that the number one movie is Michael Jackson, or Michael, which I saw, and I haven't reviewed it yet. I saw it last Tuesday, and I liked it. I know that some of the critics didn't like it. We all know all the controversy, innocent or guilty. Those things matter. But as a film, uh, it was really good. Having 15 minutes. Starts off in 1968, I believe, and it's like 15 minutes of when Michael Jackson is a little boy, and then another 15 minutes is like 1970. I mean, just time jumps pretty fast, and I appreciate it. The time jumps, and I think that's a clever way of like. And they also gave people the year and the dates. So when they jump from the 70s to the 81 when he's a teenager, it was you got enough of the character development. I thought in story. I mean, we all pretty much know Michael Jackson. The one biased thing, this movie was completely produced by the Jackson family. So if you thought the Elvis biopic was obviously super positive, if you watch Elvis, the abuse manager, and you watch Michael, it does have the same narrative arc. And somebody else is trying to take the talented seniors, fortune of fame away. And the music, of course, was fantastic. And it was shot in Los Angeles. Another movie that was shot completely in Los Angeles. Another fun fact about Michael movie before I go on to the next subject is that they did the thriller. I mean, that thriller scene was shot for what I have. I mean, correct me in the comments below, but was shot at the same location as they really did shoot the original video. So they went back to the original location. I that doing stuff like that when you don't have to is just amazing. Not too many people would know, not too many people would care, but I love that they did that. And there you go. Uh, two really good movies. Everything else is mediocre. I thought Project Hail Mary is still my number one, um, and Michael Jackson's number two. Project Hail Mary is just a little bit more original in my opinion. So, and it was a little bit more heartfelt. Um, and The Bride will be number three because I like The Bride. Um, Themes are still kind of the same. You know, my biggest pet peeve with going on to different subject now. My biggest pet peeve is when people say, "Why did they have to make that movie? Why was that movie made?" There's another Star Wars movie. There's another Superman movie. There's another. How many Superman movies we need? I go, how many times do you watch Shakespeare and enjoy it? That's just people like a lot of the same troops. I mean, we watch football every year. We watch baseball every year. We don't always know the outcomes of the games now, though, do we? Sometimes they're surprising, sometimes they're shocking. But the idea that people say, do we really need another Scream 7? No, we don't really need it. But John Campea had a good quote the other day. He said, "We never needed the first one. We never needed the first Star Wars." And since it's getting closer to Star Wars week, and then Mandalorian and Grogu is at the end of the month, it'll probably be the next movie I will review because next week is Mortal Kombat 2. It looks okay, and there's Devils Wear Prada to which I like Anne Hathaway, but I'll probably definitely wait for that movie to be released on Disney Plus. I haven't seen the first one yet, and I'm gonna talk now. So that's the news of the day. What we have to see here with the trend is that if you like Star Wars and you like Lord of the Rings and you like Game of Thrones and Power, where kings, for better or worse, have been in the news lately. But now let's talk about some historical kings, like King Henry V, sixth. This story, I haven't read all of it yet, but I read some of it. Let's just see. King Henry, this is Act 1, Scene 1. This is a little description. King Henry despairs at the civil unrest out of his regime. He declares civil butchery, establishing the motif of blood in its highest, most violent scuffle, and the theme is language and inheritance. He declares his intention to lean a long plan crusade to the Holy Land. That sounds, we're doing that shit right now. Mom and Iran sounds like we're trying to take over the Holy Land. He talks of the crucifixion. Oh wow, 1400 years ago and 12th month, he had planned to make his crusade and establishing the month of time. Anyways, there's some comedy at the beginning, and there's some comparisons of themes, and there's a prequel to this. I didn't know if a lot of Shakespeare. See, we always say, "What's up with the prequels and the sequels?" And there's a prequel to this story, and this is supposed to be the first one. This is one of the earliest plays. It takes place in Shakespeare's real time. It's not like he writes about people way earlier in the history. He writes about Caesar and Cleopatra, for instance. That's Roman and Greek history, and Roman and Egyptian history. And I like the idea that even in Shakespeare's day, there is a prequel to the story, and it just starts off. It's kind of like Star Wars, right in the middle. I'm also reading, jumping back to the 50s. That's a big time jump. Jack Kerouac, Two Poets, One Night. We have America, since we're doing America's having the 4th of July, 250th anniversary, I believe. And since I'm going to London, a little Shakespearean action with Henry VI. And I have, it was also in the news today that the Oscars, or a few years ago, a few days ago, that the Oscars are not going to allow movies, they had to be blunt with it, or scripts to be produced with AI. And that it makes sense. Nobody wants AI art, even though it could be a great tool. Now there's probably some some emphasis on the rule that maybe you can use AI as a tool. I don't know if that's clarified. Oh, and another rule for the Oscars is that an actor or actress can win the same. So you have the same person competing with themselves, and that's pretty interesting. But let's talk now about the comparison with Shakespeare and Kerouac. See, I was talking about the AI. I'm going to use a little AI right now. I looked up something on AI. Chat, chat, um, GPT or chat chat TPT, and I was just curious. So I'm going to break the rules and use a little AI because sometimes the teachers do. My professor sometimes allows a little AI for a tool compared to your own brain power. But this is just what I thought of this. So this is my own idea, and I was curious, and I said, "What's is there any similarities in what you would call the beat poets? This is my favorite poets, and Shakespeare. Shakespeare, they say Shakespeare brushed up with Shakespeare. He's everywhere. He's relevant throughout time, and I looked up the similarities of Henry VI and part one versus the similarities of the town and the city. Jack Kerouac's first novel in 1950. He has a lost novel, but we won't get into that. And that will include the video. And I'm thank you for watching as we pair and trust. So, a quick review. Michael Jackson's number one. Oscars have some new rules. Werewolf or the werewolf posters coming up. Some trailers. Star Wars week is on. Star Wars Day is on Monday. So some science fiction stuff coming up at the end of the month. And now getting ready for my trip to London and my ultimate return home to America. I'm doing a little bit of verses of London British literature versus American literature. And I'm going to use, I asked Chat GPT this question. Are there any similar themes in Shakespeare and Jack Kerouac poems and plays? And it said the following. It said, quote, at first glance, William Shakespeare and Jack Kerouac seem to be worlds apart. Elizabeth drama versus a mid-century beat poet and prose. But when you look past the styles and era, there are some surprisingly strong thematic overlaps. 1. The search for identity and meaning. Shakespeare's characters think of Hamlet and King Lear, or like what life means. What does it mean to be alive? And Kerouac narrates, especially in On the Road, are also ruthless journeys trying to define themselves. Guys, we need to just let people find themselves a little bit. You know, we're so used to being in the real world. We need to have people find themselves a little bit. You just don't have time to do that as much as you want to, but it should be part of your journey. It's discouraged in America. It should be more, or it's discouraged in modern day society, but it should be more accepted. Rebellion against social norms. What does that mean? Rebellion against social norms. Shakespeare returns again and again to the fleeting nature. For example, in Macbeth, life is but a walking shadow. Kerouac, influenced by Buddhism and essentially in parents' moments, relationships, experiences, passing by. Oh, that was number 3, temperance and parents. But number 2 is rebellion against social norms. Shakespeare frequently explores the characters defined by exceptions. Kerouac works embodies in rebellion in a more overly beat culture, rejects the controversial career paths, materialism, and social rule. The spirit is similar even if the context differs. So both of these people are challenging rebellion. And finally, travel and movement. Kerouac work is physical, mobile roads, trains, constant motion. Shakespeare's journey often psychological and social madness, but both use movement as a way to explore change. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Yes, and so speaking of Star Wars, Henry in this play right here, Henry this I better be six because four, Henry six. I hate Roman numerals. 1 5, whatever the freak that means, right? That's four. I think 1 2 3 4, but I don't like Roman numerals because they confuse me. 1 2 3. Oh, this is four because this is Star Wars episode. I remember this. This is Henry the Fourth, Part One. Fourth. Um, Correction. On the go. Henry the Fourth. Um, so we have an apprentice. We have an apprentice in the story. We have a king who's going to do some shit. And we have an apprentice. So this is definitely something you can read before you watch your Star Wars trilogy again, if you have the time, that is. Um, well, lots of Shakespeare stuff. This is a little bit more comical, I think. Serious, but it's like almost like a dark satire. And so that's that. All right, guys, that's the update of my newest video. Little Shakespeare, little Jack Kerouac, little Michael Jackson. And we are at 18 minutes. Tonight, I'm going to watch Nightmare Alley and a movie I haven't seen yet called I Saw the Light, which is a Hank Williams um, biography. I haven't seen it yet with a British actor. Can't think of his name, but he plays in Thor: Love and Thunder. Let's look it up. Look it up real quick. I saw the light. 2015 movie starring Tom Henderson. Oh yeah, so cool. Lorky, British, plays American. There you go. Good comparison. Um, so I did hear. I was reading a lot about. I was listening last night to. While I was reading the town and city, I was listening to a lot of Hank Williams, just getting my mind right, and having a drink, listening to Hank Williams. Because I don't really like new country, but some of the old stuff is pretty solid in my opinion. Poetic stories, short stories, not long songs about trucks and being alpha and political and short stories. Of course, some country was probably political, but anyways, I progress. And I'm going to wish you guys a good night. I think let's recap. Michael Jackson, #1 movie. Oscars have new rules, no AI, and actor and actress can compete with themselves. That was interesting. Um, British literature, Shakespeare versus Jack Kerouac. Then we have what's opening up, The Devil's Wear Prada. I haven't seen it yet. Probably won't see that one until it comes out to streaming. Look for me to review maybe Mortal Kombat, but I'm telling you, my next review probably won't be until the May 22nd, which is Star Wars, Mandalorian, and Grogu. All right, it's about 21 minutes. That's probably good enough for the show. It's about 7:02, and guys, I will talk to you guys later. Have a good night. Thank you for watching The World According to Lonza, and I am in Lonza. See you guys later. Bye.